Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV and Radio, where wisdom meets experience. Join a dynamic lineup of thought leaders, professionals, and changemakers from around the world. Dr. Madeline Chan from the UK, Mariska Dupreya from Australia, red.olaughlin from Texas, USA, Carolyn Heward from the UK, Zunette Lub from Cape Town, South Africa, as they share expert insights, personal journeys, and impactful strategies for success. Talking Heads isn't just a show, it's a global stage for education, collaboration, and inspiration. So elevate your knowledge, expand your perspective, engage in conversations that matter. Streaming globally, empowering locally, this is Talking Heads, only on USA Global TV and Radio.
Howdy, all y'all. red.olaughlin here. We're on Talking Heads on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. Fountain of Youth, been sought after for centuries, lots of stories about it. Youth conjures up a certain vision in our head, but is there a way to slow down the aging process? And my topic today is basically talking about how to age, and let's just pick a reasonable number, 10 years. Can I look, feel, and do things as if I'm 10 years younger than I am? So that's where I want to go today. Let me get my slides lined up here and we will get the show on the road. Okay. How to age 10 years slower, essentially metabolic mastery. If you can control your metabolism, particularly down at the mitochondrial level in your cells, that is where everything, the magic begins. As we get older, a lot of that stuff starts to decline, fade, dysfunction, lots of things happen. So we're going to talk about what do we really have control over today. Our show is seen on Amazon Fire, Zizzle TV, E360 TV, YouTube, Android TV, Apple TV, a lot of different social media and more. And my programs are all for awareness and education. And again, this is a live streaming TV. Yes, there will be podcasts, audio products down the road after the show is over. My website is red.olaughlin.com, red like the color R-E-D, O'Laughlin spelled O-L-A-U-G-H. L-I-N, red.olaughlin.com. My books, all my social media, everything is in there in order to get in touch with me. YouTube has USA Global TV. And if you want to look for live shows for archives, I have some archive shows also on my website, red.olaughlin.com. But YouTube is probably your best choice. There are a lot of choices out there, but YouTube, there's a couple different programs there available for the USA Global TV and Radio Network. I'm a researcher. That's what I do nowadays. I spend several hours every day, and I just go looking for things, primarily something dealing with longevity, something dealing with an age-related disease, something that I can prove my health as I'm getting older. You know, I'm retired. I want to be able to enjoy my life a lot better, or at least at the same level I did 10, 20 years ago. Never been in the pharmaceutical or medical fields, but my first degree was in chemistry. I got 5 total academic degrees, all in different subjects. Lots of reasons for that. But I also have a bunch of professional certifications, primarily in the areas of quality assurance, reliability engineering, and logistics engineering. I spent 31 years in the military, got a chance to travel to 62 countries, got an invitation to Vietnam, got an invitation to Bosnia, retired as a Navy captain, and for about 16, 17 years, I was a naval aviator, and I flew in P-3 aircraft. I focus today on cause and effect relationships. If I can treat a cause, I probably have some level of success. But most everything we do nowadays in our medical industry is we're treating symptoms. But when you're treating the symptoms, if the cause continues to be a problem, it can get worse and actually create some problems down the road. From a personal note, been married 57 years, a couple of kids, 3 grandkids, and 1 great-grandson that'll be 2 here just after the first of the year. A best-selling author of several books, independent publisher. I've published books for about a number of authors, about 50 books total. Distinguished Toastmaster, writer. I've got over 1,000 articles, mostly on health and wellness, longevity, age-related disease on LinkedIn, about 1,500 on my website. International TV host. Last year, I ended up in 2 different categories, number 2 in one, number 6 in another. For 6 months of this year, I was number 1 host in my category. At the 6-month mark, we're coming up here at the end of the year. I hope that continues, but it is what it is, so we'll do the best to maintain. Okay, one of the books I wrote is The Joy of Ageless Health. It talks about the low-level cellular inflammation in the body as the cause of nearly every disease that we see. So if I can do something to address that mutation that occurs at the DNA level due to stress or toxins, radiation, inflammation, diet, even expectations, there's a lot of things going on. So I think that's probably a realistic place to start. And again, this program is for educational purposes only. We think about age, and we see people, some they look a lot older than they really are. Some look remarkably a lot younger than they are. Some have lots of money, whether they're celebrities or in other areas where they have the money to devote to it. And even people who have the money to devote to it, they don't always fix that fountain of youth goal that they're looking for. But let's just say, can I take the next 10 years and maybe age 2 of those years instead of 10, maybe 4? But can I slow down my aging process? And I think, I think we actually absolutely can. We do have some level of control over that. After 40 years of age, our overall metabolic efficiency, we're talking about how that cell is operating, the mitochondria, we lose about 8% a year on metabolic efficiency every decade. So if I'm losing, so let's say I'm going from 40 to 80, which I'll be at my next birthday. So that's 32% more. So here's a third of my metabolic efficiency after age 40 is declining. I've already lost a lot of metabolic efficiency getting to 40. So we're not seeing people walk as quickly as they used to. They may think well. That always seems to be one of those conundrums that, the 92 years of age, but sharp as a tack. But the body doesn't support the brain. It operates slower. Our brains max age out about 24 years of age. You really don't grow much older than that. So you may be in an 80-year-old body, and if things are working well, you still have your 24-year-old brain. But as I mentioned earlier, chronic low-level cellular inflammation is the cause of almost every disease out there. But it's also the cause of our aging. Things just don't operate the way they used to. Why? Because we don't have the same level of support. We're going to get a lot of that here today. So I'm looking at my mitochondria, and I'm looking at the energy they produce. As I get older, I want to be able to zip up the stairs or go run a couple miles. I can't do that because my mitochondria is just not providing the energy I need. There's a certain decline that happens with age. Can I address that issue? Yes, we'll be talking about it. So there's a lot of factors like anything else in our bodies. They're so interrelated with each other. You try to fix one, but these other 4 over here you ignore. And even though you spent a lot of time fixing that one, you're not seeing the level of improvement that you want. But again, we have a level of control, but you have to look at a bigger picture and do that one and that one and that one in order to see the bigger picture grow. So let's talk more detail here. So we can slow our aging by, let's just look at just a couple, 3 things here. Mitochondrial efficiency. If I can improve that, if I can just stop the decline, that's doable. Can I improve the efficiency? Yeah, very doable. So that's one mechanism. Cellular inflammation. Well, we hear about these free radicals that just living, thinking, breathing, exercising. Our bodies go through this. You start eating things, again, food, preservatives, toxins, all sorts of things 24/7. Our DNA and our cells are being attacked relentlessly. Well, if we have a good immune system, if we're eating right, we're providing the right level of antioxidants, we can reduce cellular inflammation. One of the key things I tell people, I haven't missed an annual physical since 1967. I had a flight physical in 1968 and never missed. I've had annual physicals ever since. I just had one. One of the measures, one of several, but one of the measures that I always make sure I get is called C-reactive protein. It tells you how much inflammation there is in the body. Most of the time, mine is unmeasurable. It's less than 0.25. Yeah, there may be something there, but you have to go to a different test to get it. But if it's that low, is there a concern? But you can measure it, and let's say it's a higher number than that, double digits maybe. But it won't tell you where in the body is at. But it will tell you, hey, I need to go talk to somebody and find out what's going on, because there's something happening. It may be an infection, it may be a tumor growing, we don't know. But it's a good test, and that cellular inflammation is something that we do have control over. We can stop having birthdays, but we still age. That doesn't solve any problems at all. You're addressing a symptom. Well, my last birthday was 39th. Well, that may be fine 40 years ago, but that's not a solution. But what can we do? Well, that's what I want to talk about. I did several sessions on the hallmarks of aging and the hallmarks of health. Different animals, but in each case, when you get down into the real nitty-gritty detail, the cellular level, what's happening chemically speaking to cause the aging process or to improve our health or cause our health to go the wrong direction. Well, I was amazed. I came into this thing pretty wide open, and the thing I learned was that we make lifestyle choices every day. You know, what do we eat? What exercise do we do? The quality of the sleep that we get when we go to bed. What do we watch? Our exercise, stress management, lots of lifestyle choices that we face with every day, and they become habits. They become our comfort zone. But if we are looking at maintaining good lifestyle choices, no smoking, not being obese, managing our stress, it's a lot of things that if we do it on the good side, they all affect the hallmarks of aging and the hallmarks of health very similar. They do the improvement into things. It's almost as if you have a gene and you turn the switch on, and good means I'm feeling pretty good. And conversely, if I'm overweight, I smoke, I drink a lot, I eat the wrong kinds of foods, they're all prepared the wrong way. Those things, as bad lifestyle choices, can affect the way you look, the way you act, and the color of your hair, obviously, as the song used to go. But recent studies have shown that if you really and truly concentrate the good aspects, make good daily lifestyle choices, you can actually start seeing some innovation. People who can look younger. You know, just take the stress issue alone. I've seen people, 3 years ago, I mean, they looked terrible. Then all of a sudden, here's a picture of them now, and they look 10 years younger, or even more than 10 years younger, just from an area of addressing stress. But they're saying that realistically, in about a 12-week period, 3 months, you could see a biological age reduction of 2 to 8 years. And this can be something that you stand on a machine that's measured. It can be other things, but the biological age is not the same thing as our chronological age, but it's how our bodies actually function. So can you make a change, a daily habit change, a good choice for 90 days? I think it can be done. But with me, I want to know why things happen. Just telling me to do something is fine, but I really want to know the why. So it's not what we intend or what we want to do or what we need to do. Yeah, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want this. I want that. It's what we expect. If you take Dr. Morris Massey's book, Psychocybernetics, I wrote a book on it, and he talks about the subconscious mind. And that subconscious mind is controlled about 95 or more % of everything you do every day. But it's mostly controlled with the choices you make. And so when you are at a point where you make a choice because you know it's the right choice to make, but rather than a habit, then that new habit begins with that good choice. So we have to get our mindsets aligned with our goals if we want a healthier life. I can't just go into all you can eat and just load up the plates 2 and 3 times and expect to have a healthier lifestyle. My financial lifestyle might be better, but my healthier lifestyle will not. So I ask you, reframe your expectations. Don't look at something you failed at in the past, because that's the psychocybernetics part of our brain. If I failed before, my subconscious mind doesn't want that to happen again. And the more you fail, the more your subconscious mind will sabotage you into doing something and ending up failing again. So let's say that, for years I've wanted to lose weight. Well, that may be a major failing point in your brain. But maybe if you reframe that expectation, I want to look better. I want to be stronger. I want to be more resilient. I want to be more fully functional. There's a lot of things that you've never tried before to align your brain with, and saying, I want to eat to be stronger. I want to eat to be more fully functional. I want to exercise to look better. There are a lot of things. I'm not looking at losing weight, not looking at losing inches of fat. I'm looking at other things. And that is one of the keys to what we're talking about here. I got to get my mind wrapped around everything else and everything in alignment. So what can we control? Well, I mentioned earlier, inflammation. Well, if the inflammation is that excessive and is not able to be controlled by the antioxidants that you're eating or supplementation or your immune system, the next level is oxidative stress. That's where things really start to go haywire in the body. So I go from an inflammatory condition that I'm fighting 24/7. If the inflammation is winning, DNA mutations happen. I start looking at oxidative stress occurring at various places in the body. I start looking at mitochondrial energy decline. I'm looking at metabolic dysfunction, hormonal signaling loss. We get to talk about each one of these things in detail. So over 50, we produce about 40, 50, 60% fewer hormones than we did when we were in our 20s. Fewer peptides, fewer enzymes, a lot of things. I talked about peptides 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, a couple of sessions. And I talked about synthetic peptides and a massive amount of improvement in our bodies, because we're making less, fewer of them are available to go where. But if I'm buying them that are made in a laboratory and they're identical to the peptide my body is making, yeah, they haven't been tested by FDA. That's an issue. But it's one of those things that people are seeing amazing results in energy, weight loss, fitness, all sorts of things. I am not saying go out and buy peptides. Talk to your doctor first about something like that, because many of them are not FDA approved as of yet, because they just haven't done the testing, and that's where it's at. But there's a lot of anecdotal and testimonial evidence out there, and most of the stuff is only sold on a research basis only, and so there's some restrictions. But you can get a lot of stuff online, and so again, don't just go popping into the peptide world without doing your research. We have a lot of sources of inflammation and down the road, oxidative stress if left unchecked. Poor gut health, that's a big one. Eating the wrong kinds of stuff, not getting the right kind of fiber in there, not getting the right kind of flora that's growing. Chronic stress exacerbates it. Stress adds more cortisol, which adds more belly fat, sleep disruption. If the body doesn't have a chance to repair itself, things are going to go from bad to worse. Pollution, toxins, our poor dietary choices, and the choices we make in preparing the food or buying the food. A sedentary lifestyle. All of these things affect our aging process. Excess visceral fat, that's the fat that's right around our organs, our kidneys, our liver, our pancreas, etc., heart. Smoking, alcohol, injuries, being obese, having a weakened immune system, infections. Lots of things affect our aging. And if we leave them without some level of attention, we are going to look older, feel older, act older than we really are. And fortunately, almost every single one of those are controllable. There's a lot of information out there on anti-inflammatory diets, mainly fruits and vegetables more so than anything else. It keeps your pH in the alkaline range. Lots of things to be said for fruits and vegetables. Balanced nutrition. Nutritional deficiencies run rampant in our country. Take one in particular, B12. If you're deficient in B12 long enough over a period of time, it'll mimic Alzheimer's. It can be fixed pretty easily, but all of a sudden you're getting symptoms of something that was controllable. Caloric restriction in animals, amazing results. They'll take and cut 30-40% of the animal's feed, just not feed it as much as they used to. And all of a sudden they live longer, they look better, they don't have the same kind of diseases that their peers had that had full caloric intake every day. Stress control, probably one of those things that most of us just ignore. There are so many things we can do, just from a simple smile to a laugh to I always say, you reach out and you grab a hold of it and you don't let go. Let it go. There's just so many things that stress does to our bodies that we have control over. We don't realize it. Talked about gut health earlier. We're talking about the right kinds of fiber. We're talking about the probiotics, prebiotics. We're talking about keeping our gut in check so that it can digest what we need and give our bodies the things that it needs. You have some digestive processes going on. It goes through the walls of the small intestines, through your immune system into your bloodstream. You have some things, some people have a problem with gluten, wreaks havoc with that whole process. So depending on what you choose to eat, what you have resistance to, sensitivity to, those are things that are awareness on the gut health. Exercise, they're finding out that one of the best indicators of aging is VO2 max, the volume of your oxygen intake when you're exercising full out. Difficult to measure. I don't think most of us over 50 are even in that category of caring about that. But the one thing we do care about is our appearance. And exercise, primarily strength training, you need the endurance, you need the other things. And as you get older, you need the balance, you need the flexibility. But exercise is turning out more and more, as I'm reading over the last 2 years, seems to be a major push that exercise is much more important than we thought it was. Yes, it's a lifestyle factor. It's something that we make choices of every day. Walking is better than sitting. Running, depending on how long and what shape you're in, and a number of other factors. But one of the guys that I know here in Houston several years ago, he set out personal goal for his own health. He's going to run a mile a day. First day he walked most of it. But long story short, he has about 3,000 days in a row that he has not missed a day of running. Well, that was something that he got into very slowly, got the right kind of equipment, the right kind of training, right kind of endurance anyway. So lots of things you can do there. The quality of our sleep is super critical. A lot of supplements are out there. So if we're looking at, maybe I need more vitamin K2 because I'm not getting into my diet, maybe that's what I want to get as far as supplement. One of the things that we see a lot of times on these multivitamins, multiminerals is vitamin E. E is an echo. There's 8 different vitamin E's. There's 8 different molecules. We get one usually, and it's a synthetic. It's nearly worthless in our bottle that says vitamin E. So they have it on there. Yeah, you're getting it, but it's not the same thing as going out and buying a bottle of mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols that are the compounds that make up vitamin E. And the same thing can be said for the kinds of supplements you get, calcium carbonate versus calcium citrate. There's just the kinds of things are bioavailable in the body. And one of the things that I always push is periodic evaluations and testing. I mentioned the C-reactive protein. It's a protein our body makes when we're stressed out. We have a lot of infection. It makes a lot more. But again, it doesn't tell you where. It just says, yeah, you got a lot of problems. Okay, here. Oops. I lost track here. Okay, I'm going to continue on. Let's see, get my slides back up here. Okay, let's see if I get my slides back. I lost them for a second. They'll be back up in a minute. Okay, push that button, see what happens. Okay. There we go. Let me get my slides. Okay. Things happen. Okay, mitochondrial health. We talked about over time, you see a decline in the health of the mitochondria. You'll even see dysfunction toward, you start getting up in the 70s, 80s. Things just don't work well. Well, mitochondrial decline and eventually dysfunction correlates very, very much with our reduced muscle mass. If I have a fairly good muscle mass in my 40s and 50s, and then all of a sudden I'm in my 60s and I haven't done anything. I've been to the gym in 15 years. That reduced muscle mass is going to affect the mitochondria in your body, the level of output of energy that it does. It's going to slow our metabolism down. And one of the things from that is you're going to see a lower quality of immunity. The level of immunity is just not as great as it used to be. There are a lot of supplements that can be taken. Urolithin A is one NAD, but you're not taking NAD plus, but there's boosters out there, NR, NMN. Those are boosters that actually cause our bodies to make more of that. And so there are things out there. CoQ10, there's a couple of different kinds. One's much more bioavailable than the other. Usually you look at the price tag, if it says $10 and the other one says 30, the one that's 30 is probably 10 times better than the one that's $10. But the ALA, alpha lipoic acid, magnesium, taurine, all of those are supplements you can buy. They all work well for mitochondrial health. There's a lot of other ones besides that, a lot of B vitamins and things in there too. But one of the things I've noticed here lately is a lot of big push here on methylene blue. Back when I was a chemist, we used it for staining stuff. A lot of biologists use it for staining slides. And it's a blue compound, and it's usually found as a liquid. But you drink it, and all of a sudden, it's like your mitochondria went on some kind of space mission and you're in warp drive because you're 60-80% more production out of your mitochondria. Same mitochondria that's always been there, but now you have a driver with a whip and a chair that's just beating the mitochondria to give you more energy. And some peptides also support that same function. And let me back up for 1 second. I have not tried methylene blue yet. It's one of those things that over the holidays, I'm probably going to. I'm still doing my research on it. But it's going to be very close. It's probably going to be something I'm going to be looking at. And the sooner the better. I'll let everybody know. Most of the time we treat symptoms, not the causes. And if I want to treat the cause, these are the kinds of things I need to be looking at. Intermittent fasting, maybe eating during a 6-hour window a day. Extended fasting. I do a 72-hour fast every month. And what it does is it turns on what's called autophagy. That's when you get cell cleaning, cell recycling. Lots of good things happen with autophagy. But the minute you eat something, all of a sudden autophagy stops. So fasting is one of those super good things to be doing for your body. Caloric restriction. Cut back on 30% of the calories you're taking. It reduces your insulin sensitivity. It reduces inflammation. It gives your body time to really and truly, I'm not having to work overtime to digest everything I have. If I go into fasting, now I'm actually allowing my body the time to recoup, repair, and do everything I need to do. Strength training reverses muscle mass loss. In other words, I want to build up my muscles. Well, strength training is one of the few things to do. But you could do strength training just with your body weight. You don't have to go to the gym to do that. You don't have to go out and buy a lot of weights. But you have to go to YouTube. Look at body weight strength training. Lots of things out there that can help you. If you have a problem, talk to your doctor first before you do it. Do you think you know what's going on? You know how you feel? But if you're really and truly starting something new, talk to somebody who knows what you're on, what you're doing. Talk to your pharmacist. Sometimes they can be one of the best sources of information. 2 to 3 days of strength training reduces aging biomarkers by about 5 years. And that's just in a matter of about 3 or 4 months. It doesn't take a whole long time. All exercise is critical for aging. So as I'm getting older, I need balance, I need flexibility, I need strength, I need endurance, I need a lot of things. But the one that really and truly drives the aging process is the strength training. It boosts mitochondrial density. In other words, as I'm exercising, I'm actually causing my cells to create more mitochondria. So if I have more of them and they're making less, well, I have more overall. So the density of mitochondria is also super critical. Our food choices, our preparations. If I'm cooking, frying everything, maybe I need to cut back and just bake. And the choices of the foods I have, if they come in boxes and cans and jars, maybe that's not the best choice. But again, we're looking at foods that are anti-inflammatory. And in most cases, it's going to be your fruits and vegetables. Optimize your sleep quality. Manage your stress. Regulate the stress on a regular basis. Don't just say, well, I had a bad day today. I need to do some deep breathing or what. whether you feel it or not, the stress is there. Just do it. Our bodies can switch between burning glucose, which is our normal mode because of the foods we choose to eat, and burning fat. You've heard of the ketogenic diet. It's mostly protein and fat, very little, if any, carbs. Well, you get on that, people lose 10, 20, 30 pounds pretty easily because they're burning fat, mostly around their gut, because that's where the excess fat is stored. So if I want to lose weight, lose inches, why not focus on that kind of diet? Minimize my carbs, maximize my proteins and fat. That's good, but there are risks associated with that. I've talked about this before. I was on Atkins diet for 6 years. I lost 7, 8 inches in my waist, lots of pounds, and for years I was happy. But I used to be able to go out and run 6, 8 miles easily without even thinking about it. I could make 2 miles because I was out of gas. Just absolutely could not even. I had to walk back to the starting line. Why? Because I didn't have the glycogen stores. But more critically is the fact that I was leaching calcium from my bones into my bloodstream to maintain a proper pH, which caused me to become osteopenia, which surprised me completely. So there's lots of things that you do. If you're going to make a choice, do the research, find out what's good, what's bad, what should you be aware of. And again, talk to your doctor. Most of them understand, but if you start getting into the area of nutrition and things, you really probably need to talk to a nutritionist who understands that level of uniqueness in that area. But if you don't burn your fat, what are you up to? Well, weight gain, fatigue, brain fog, lots of things happen. Overall, our metabolism slows by, after 40 years of age, primarily due to our muscle mass. We are losing it because we're, use it or lose it. Well, we're not using it, we're losing it. And then when that happens, insulin resistance goes up, and just a nasty scenario all the way around. Let's talk about hormone availability and decline. Chronic inflammation, lower mitochondrial output. These are things that are there, and I'm going to get into the hormone thing here in just a second. But if I want to look at what options are they telling us today, I heard this thing as I'm doing my research: protein timing. It used to be I want to carb load before I exercise, and then I want a protein load after I exercise. Well, now they're saying that maybe I really want to time my protein intake, certain amounts, certain times of the day. I see a lot of value in that because it's keeping your body in a constant mode. But if you're in intermittent fasting, you're not having a breakfast, so there's no morning protein that you would typically have there, eggs and bacon, for instance. But there's a lot to be said with the protein timing. I'm becoming more of a believer in that. Strength training, obviously. Carb cycling, that's another one. I'm not a big believer in carbs, but there are probably sometimes in there where I want to go a day or two and not have carbs, where I can allow my body that relaxation. Low glycemic index foods, these are things that have less and less sugars, refined starches and stuff. Fasting, I'm a big proponent of that. And we've already talked about several things with nutritional aspects of mitochondrial health. What can we expect? Well, if I'm intermittent fasting, I expect metabolic markers to improve literally within a month. Resistance training, you can see insulin resistance improve. In other words, you're getting out of the resistance and more into the sensitivity by at least 50% or more within a month or two. Warning signs, you start looking at your belt. Are you increasing the size of the belt, or are you decreasing the size of the belt? So your midsection is a pretty good indicator of weight or fat gain. Are you experiencing more fatigue? Is it harder to wake up in the morning? Is it harder to go to sleep? Are you craving sugars? Lots of things in there are clues. They're subtle hints as to what your body is going through. Do I have elevated glucose readings? Are you starting to become pre-diabetic? Well, these are all things that can be measured, and there are certain things that we can take. But some of us, it took me a long time where I can say, okay, Monday I'm going to go on a 3-day fast. A lot of people can't fast for 24 hours. It's just a problem, whether it's a mental problem, some subconscious mind. It may be a medicinal problem. Their drugs they're on just won't let them do that. They have issues, and they have to have the food to offset that. But there are some fairly easy fixes that can go along, assuming you get the clearance from your doctor. If you're on any kind of med that will be interfered with fasting. But if I want to replace any evening carbs I have with protein, that's an easy fix. If I want to walk more, particularly after eating, let's say that, okay, I'm having my late afternoon meal, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and I want to get out and walk around the block a couple times. Combine the walking after the eating. Make sure you're hydrated. A lot of us people they don't drink water, and as a result, they're dehydrated and never know it. We've already talked about some of the nutrients, but magnesium, your B vitamins, L-carnitine, these are all good for the mitochondria. Hormone signaling loss, that's where I thought I was at a minute ago, but I wasn't. Anyway, it's a hallmark of aging. We see declines in the sex hormones, human growth hormone, melatonin, DHEA, thyroid, many of them. And this all happens, we talked about earlier, 40, 70, 60% happen after the age of 40. We're just losing it because our body's not making it. Well, then you're not making as much as you used to. It's affecting your metabolic health. It's affecting muscle loss. It's affecting bone issues. It affects your immune system. It affects your cognitive issues. It affects your sleep. All these hormones, and again, they're all intermixed. So you fix one by really concentrating on improving my melatonin. Okay, I got one, but I still have 6 others that I need to get into the corral. So one fix isn't going to take care of all of them, but there are a lot of things I can do. It comes back to that lifestyle choice. My exercise, my stress management, my sleep, my diet, all of those things, if I'm on the positive side of doing the right things, they bring those hormones back into balance. You may still be down 20 or 30%, but not 40 to 60%. And so you're ending up with more of the available hormone. Supplements support a lot of those various losses. Fasting supports a lot of them. I'm just an absolute fanatic on the fasting aspect of it, particularly with the autophagy that's going on. If you keep your cells clean, you keep your mitochondria happy, that goes a long ways in keeping a good, healthy retirement life. Okay. Fasting raises your human growth hormone significantly. You take a look at human growth hormone, 70-year-olds, maybe 10% of what you used to be as a teenager, or actually as a toddler. But if I fast 24 hours, I have raised my human growth hormone probably 1,000% just from fasting. High intensity exercise is another way of raising it. A lot of ways of raising human growth hormone. But the autophagy cleanses my cells, it recycles my cells, it protects against neurodegenerative disease, the Alzheimer's and other kinds of dementia. A lot of very protective things going on there. Fasting, from what they've seen so far, again with the caloric restriction, extends the lifespan, health span. You're looking at two different things. Lifespan is the actual age versus what I'm feeling like in good health. Two different animals, but very much related. Hang on one second here. If I can switch my fuel source of my body from glucose to fat, now I'm burning fat. I'm reducing the fat around my gut. I'm also in a regenerative system where my stem cells are increasing. So my conclusion: optimize your mitochondrial, increase your cellular energy, reduce inflammation, increase your muscle mass, fasting, caloric restriction, balanced nutrition, manage your stress, and get good quality sleep. All of those things will slow your aging process down by at least 10 years, and you can see some of those results literally probably by the middle of 2026. But anyway, that is the message for today, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care now.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.